Hello there, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to talk in this video about something very different that I've been doing before, and it is about the tech pack. This is a video that I've wanted to do for a long while that some people asked me to do. So here I am, and I'm going to show you how I make the tech packs and how I use them. The tech pack is not a document that is static, it's a dynamic document that evolves at the same time that the product evolves. All right. So it has some components that for every sampling stage will allow you to take decision, to move on with the production, to move on to the next sampling stage, or eventually to make adjustments, to make corrections, to send comments to the factory, or if something happened, to stop before scaling to the next stage. So I will show you, I have some tech packs here of the same product, but for different sampling stages. I'm going to show you which one are the components that I think that cannot be missed in every stage. First of all, I have the tech pack I would made for prototyping or for quote, depending on the complexity of the design. It can be the same or not, also depending if you've been doing this type of product before or if it is the first time for you to do it. In the first page of my tech pack, I need to have a general view of the product. In this case, it's a 3 pieces satin pajama, and I have the renders that I do in Cloud 3D. If you have pictures, reference pictures, or a very good drawing, you can put it in this first page for the supplier to have a very good understanding of the product. As I said, I have the renders made in Cloud 3D and some comments that describe as good as possible the quality and the concept of the garment. Okay, so for example, I have here the fabric. In general, the comments you consider that could make the price of your product. Okay, and that could be needed to make the prototype. Going to the next page, I have the technical drawing or the line drawing that has to be very, very clear and very technical. This is not an artistic drawing. It has all the measurements that are needed to develop the pattern for the sample. Some close-ups as well, where you can see the smaller measurements, and this chart where I have the descriptions of all the measurements and all the sizes I want to produce later on. Okay, even though at this stage we only need the measurements for the size that we are going to sample or to prototype, and the tolerances, which in general, to be practical, the tolerance is 1 centimeter for long measurements and half centimeters for short measurements. You can see here, for example, for half a bust is 1 centimeter tolerance, which means that when the sample comes, I have to check if it matches to spec, and if the measurement it is 1 centimeter more or less than the one that I specified here, I have to send the comment to the supplier to correct that. So I have the size chart for every one of the components of this set. And in the last page, this chart with comments and adjustments to be used all along the process. With date for every comment, and ideally you have to put in this page as well the picture of anything you need to be corrected before move on to the next sample. So over this first tech pack, I would get the prototype to check if actually the design works and to make the comments to get what it is called the fit sample. So what changed when I need to order the fit sample? First of all, I'm going to add in the page of comments any comment that affects the fitting. Okay, in this case, for example, we put to bring the waist down 2 centimeters, and I added the picture of the sample with the correction highlighted. And I added also the page with the supplies. Some of them can be relevant for the fitting, like of course the fabric, the interlining, fillings, and some others not really, but if you have an idea of what supplies are you going to use, for example the buttons, any trims, you can add them in this page, in this stage. In this case, I added the shell fabric, the piping, interlining, fillings, buttons, elastic, and tags. I add in every chart of supply the use or the position where it is going to be placed. For example, the sleeves, the collar, every panel where it is going to be placed the shell fabric, And the same for every supply, the description and the colors. And I add also this space here for the code that is going to be empty for now, but it is going to be really needed in a more advanced stage. Once I receive the feed sample, I check if it actually matches to all the specifications that are in the tech packs. I add the comments that I need to make after the feed sample. For example, in this case, we added inconsistent top stitch and puckering because of the tension in the sewing line of the collar. And I add pointing already to the salesman sample, which can be ordered in different colors, all the colorways, and the colors for every supply for every colorway with their Pantone code. And for the ones that have the pattern, it says see printing spec. And the printing spec or printing tech pack includes the repetition unit or rapport with their measurements, which you will also send in a vector file in real scale with all the colors and the Pantone codes of all these colors that compose the pattern, okay? And the mockup. And that for every colorway with printing to be sent to the factory, to the supplier that is going to develop the printed fabric. So after I get the salesman sample, I move ahead for the pre-production sample, which ideally has to be perfect as possible to look ahead for the production. So in order to get the pre-production sample, what I add to the tech pack is the measurements for every one of the sizes I want to produce, any comments in the comments page if needed, and the code, this is very, very important, the code of every material chosen. This is a code that is agreed with the supplier and that gives me the warranty that the material that is going to be used in production is the one that we actually choose and is not going to be replaced by an unauthorized material. If the pre-production sample comes correctly and the sample meets all the compliance requirements, this tech pack can become the one for production. So it has to be highlighted in the head of the tech pack, very visible that this is the one that is authorized for production to not mix up with previous tech packs. So this is all. As I said before, this process can slightly change for every brand, depending on if you work with only one factory or with plenty. But this is mainly how I do it, step by step, and how I think you can get safely to production without any risk and move on to the next developing process. I hope you like it and found it useful, and leave me a comment about any other topic you'd like me to talk in the next videos.